Welcome to the Inspired Yogi. Today we are with Adriana Lovejoy. Adriana, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for, I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So you are a yoga teacher, a life coach, and a healer. You
Yes.
got a lot in the bag. You want to tell us a little bit more detail about yourself?
Yes. Well, I I started, I really started as a yogi when I was about 15 years old with my grandma. My
Okay.
grandma was taking yoga classes in South America, and she invited me to class. And that was my first exposure to yoga, and I was blown away. I was 15. And at home, we were kind of like tease my grandma.
Yeah.
She would come home from yoga, and we are like, "Oh, grandma, did you like put your leg up around your neck?" And it was all funny. But then when I went with her, I was blown away, and that really took me in. And um, but then it was interesting. Life kind of takes you through the ups and downs, right?
Oh yeah.
And I moved back to the States and lots going on where my health kind of declined. And really that's when that's when my path opened up. Um, because I needed to heal. I needed to get better. And Western medicine wasn't, it just wasn't doing it. It wasn't helping.
Some physical needs that you had, that kind of healing?
Yes, yes. My immune system was really bad. I mean, it was like a list of diagnoses and treatments and medication. It just nothing was. It was really. I was in a severe emotional depression, and
Mm.
it affected my physical health. And and that's how I discovered this life.
Okay.
And so I found Reiki first,
Mm-hmm.
and Reiki changed my life. Like literally from I walked into that room to receive something I had no idea I was going to get into. And and when I walked out, I was a brand new person.
Oh, I love that for you. Now,
Yeah.
so from cool granny to sickness to Reiki, I love that progression. And I noticed on, I think it was Facebook, like on your bio there, you listed like a probably four or five, maybe six different types of Reiki that you do.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
never knew there was
Well,
more than one type.
oh yeah. Well, you have your your traditional, your foundation of
Mm-hmm.
Reiki. And then uh, we like to expand human beings. We're all about discovering more and how much more we can do. And then the teachings, they expand just like in yoga. You have the hatha system, and then from there, it just kind of branches out into other styles.
Mm-hmm.
With Reiki, it's very similar to that. And so there's there's Karuna Reiki, there's Kundalini Reiki, there's
Can you tell me
Fairy Reiki.
a little bit about each of those and how they're different?
Um, it's it's how you work with the energy. Usui Reiki, which is the foundation, it's the
Mm-hmm.
traditional, and it's primarily it works with your DNA.
Okay.
Right. So it really goes into the core of the being, and it starts to help release what doesn't serve, and it allows you the opportunity to create space, energetic space to get well. And it's amazing just as it is. And I always teach my students, if you only use Usui Reiki forever and ever, you're good. But then, we create other branches. And so then, for example, we have, well, let's say Fairy Reiki, which is not very popular,
You said
but
fairy Reiki, like the little
yes,
fairies with
like
wings?
little fairies. Yeah, fairies and angel Reiki. We have both
Okay.
of those. And so what those do when you work with, for example, fairy Reiki, then it helps you tackle more like mundane situations. So, if you're having, let's say, issues at your home or maintaining a home or finding a home or if you don't know how to manage your home, for example, or your car or your job, things that are more mundane, then Fairy Reiki is a good access
Hmm.
to help you rearrange that.
Okay.
Whereas Angel Reiki, it's a little more emotional healing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this, as you're doing the Reiki, is this more of an intention that you set going into it, or is this actually a different technique?
Yeah, technique changes a little bit. It's not like you set up a session for just Angel Reiki, although some people do prefer just one type.
Okay.
But for me, for example, when I receive my clients, I never really know what combination I'm going to use for them. I'll know that in the moment as when we do we talk, the therapy part. And then when I get them on the mat, that's really where the healing unfolds. It's a very personal thing. It's a very customized thing.
Okay. So it sounds more intuitive as you're going through on a case by case
Yeah,
basis.
yeah, you have the tools, but then whatever they need, whatever the receiver needs, I always say it's really about the person that's receiving the healing and the energy, the universal energy.
Hmm.
I'm just the middle person. I'm just kind of there to facilitate, okay, this is happening. But I really don't decide what's going to happen.
Hmm.
That's divine.
Okay. And
Yeah.
your Reiki, is it hands-on, slightly above the body as you go through the different areas?
Well, yeah, all of those.
Okay.
And
A little
it
both.
depends. Yeah. Sometimes I don't get close. I don't get close at all. I'll stand like 3 feet away and
Wow.
I'll do the whole session like that.
Okay.
And sometimes it requires me to get closer. And because there are other modalities that I use, like marma therapy, which is kind of like pressure points.
Okay.
So for that, it's required that I place my fingertips in certain areas.
Hmm.
But, you know,
Is that like
um,
acupressure?
it's something like acupressure. Yeah, you find certain points along the nadis or the meridians in the body.
Hmm.
And, wherever there's energy accumulated that needs to be released, you kind of put a little bit of pressure and it helps to unlock.
I like that that
You
example.
know?
Very
Well,
good.
I can see energy.
Okay.
So when the release is getting ready to happen, I can
Hmm.
hear it also.
Oh,
So
wow.
I always say the codes are coming up.
Yeah.
And so, I get really focused and just try to create that space for the person to have that moment of release.
All right. So I've got to ask. So when you see energy, what does it look like?
Um, well, I mean, so it depends. It depends on what we're looking at. Um, when I look at the aura, it's an absolutely beautiful thing. It's kind of like hues of light. And it changes. Sometimes it's very bright colors and sometimes it's very dim. Um, Sometimes colors pop up more where others it's kind of like a hologram type of thing. And you just kind of have to, for me at least, I don't know if it's the same for everyone.
Sure.
And so I kind of just I speak to the energy, and when people say, "Oh, what color do you see?" So I always ask their energy to
Mm.
show me what it
Okay.
wants me to see. And then releases are amazing. Um, when the body's getting ready to have a moment of let go,
Hmm.
it usually looks like a little, almost like a little gray cloud, like a little
Hmm.
that goes
Interesting.
out.
Okay.
Yeah. And
And
I
it makes that,
hear it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you said that you hear it. Now, is that like an internal hearing or do you,
Probably.
hard to tell, huh?
But when it starts, when I know the release is coming,
Yeah.
because to me it sounds almost like, when paper tears,
Hmm.
that sound,
Yeah.
that's so I know, okay, something's coming up.
Oh, so that's so cool. So you hear this paper tear and then it's
Yeah.
coming up and then you get the little pop, almost like a bubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very neat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Now, do you use other types of therapies or modalities in your healing?
Oh, yes, yes. I always do a little bit of meditation with them. So breath work, always like to incorporate some type of breathing exercise for them.
Hmm.
And, depending on where they're at, if they're coming for anything that's emotional, like grief or depression or, anything like that, or if it's more like physical healing that they're, it really depends. So I always incorporate breathing exercises
Okay. Hmm.
because that helps the physiology also to help settle and they relax. And then it's easier to work on them when they're relaxed.
Sure.
Yeah. And then
So,
there's leptokinetic healing, which is another form of energy. Um,
what
marma
healing?
healing.
You said something kinetic?
Yeah, it's called leptokinetic.
Leptokinetic. Okay.
Mhm. Leptokinetic focuses on like the psychic layer of the
Okay.
person.
Hmm.
So it's more like my psychic healing, my psychic body works with their psychic body. So
Okay.
it's a way for me to read the
Hmm.
you know, kind of read what's going on with them. And sometimes people when they want to get better, you know, humans have the tendency of grabbing onto everything, right? It's mine.
Sure.
We want it. And even those things that we want to let go, like, we talk about our problems and oh, my problem is we make it ours, my past, my trauma. And that makes us hold on to it. We get attached.
That makes
And
sense.
so in that attachment, when they're ready to receive, um, it's almost like they struggle. We struggle when we want to let go, but we struggle letting that go because what are we going to do after?
Yeah, because we're claiming that,
Yeah,
and if you let it go, you can't claim it anymore.
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's where leptokinetic comes in handy because it
Okay.
goes into that layer and it's easier to help them release that attachment.
Okay. So kind of walk me through, or our listeners through, somebody comes to see you. What's going to happen first?
Well, usually I sit them on my comfy chair
Okay.
and so we catch up.
Hmm.
Um, and that's a really important part of the treatment because it's a way for them to disconnect from arriving and traffic and, busy life.
A little decompression.
Yes. And it helps ground. So that way their mission, their purpose, their reason for being here, receiving the healing, it becomes real. And so they're able to disconnect from the outside world.
Okay.
And after that, when they're ready, I usually bring out my pendulum. I'll bring out my crystals. I do a little bit of a chakra balance first to kind of clear stuff out.
Okay. I'm familiar with pendulum work, but I'm wondering if there's listeners because I don't think pendulum work has ever come up in any of our podcasts before. So can you explain that?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Pendulum is amazing. It's
Hmm.
I use it. I mean, we use pendulums for different things. Um, you can use for question and answer where you place, your palm open, you place the pendulum on top and you ask a question and you get like yes or no answers. That's
Well,
one way.
I know you're saying that because the way you're saying it is because you understand it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
to somebody that's never worked with a pendulum or saw it, I mean, obviously the pendulum's not saying yes or no. So how does that work?
No, so and again, it depends. It's a little different for every person. Energy
Okay.
speaks to everyone in a
Hmm.
very individual way.
Okay.
So when I teach this, that's part of the class is let's discover how you speak with the energy because it's different for everyone. So sometimes, like if you ask a yes or no question and the pendulum sways side to side, that could mean no.
Okay.
And if the pendulum spins instead of swaying, then that could mean yes.
Okay.
That's what it's like for me. But it's a little different for everyone.
Sure.
And so we test to make sure that we get, you
And
know,
describe that testing for us.
So we'll ask a question like, for example, if Anna is in class
Mm-hmm.
and so I say, well, ask your question, a question that you know the answer. So my name is Anna, and she'll sway the pendulum. So if the pendulum does side to side, that's yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, totally.
So
That makes
it's very pedestrian,
sense.
but it's a good
Yeah.
method.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I love pendulum
And
work.
so that's yes or no. That's more for like what we call divination.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to healing, and we do questions and answers during, a healing therapy sometimes, but I try not to focus too much on that. That's more divination. I'd rather focus more on them and their healing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'll use the pendulum over their body, for example, to work with the chakras. I test. The chakras are energy centers that we have located mainly along the center of the body,
Mm-hmm.
because we have many all over.
Yes.
But we tend to work more with the seven basic ones.
Yes.
And so these energy centers, they spin. And sometimes they spin faster, sometimes they spin slower. And they don't all spin in the same speed. Each chakra has its own speed, it has its own frequency. And so with the pendulum, I place it on top of one chakra and I just kind of leave it there and I wait to see if it moves and how it moves. And that tells me the state of health of that chakra at that moment. So
Okay.
again, it's information for me before I start my session to
Mm-hmm.
know, well, what am I going to focus
Yeah, absolutely.
on?
It's like your assessment of the person.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so you've got this your grounding, your pendulum assessment, so to say, and then where does it
Hmm.
transition from there?
Well, and from there, I go into like a nice, simple, short, but deep relaxation where I guide them to close their eyes, to focus on their breath. We'll do a little bit of breath work, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes I love to have them do somatic breathing because that really sets the space and the body relaxes. And then their mind isn't racing. It kind of
Mm-hmm.
like helps them slip into that floating mode.
Sure, sure.
And then usually Reiki. I start with Reiki first. Everything else comes from there.
Okay. I want to
Maybe,
back you up for a second because I
yeah,
know a lot, like a lot of my audience knows about these things because they've been in yoga and they're Reiki
right.
teachers themselves and this and that. But a lot of them are really new and finding this podcast helpful to learn about energy and spirituality and these things. So can you
Absolutely.
describe the somatic breathing technique that you're using?
Oh, yeah. So there's a basic somatic breath that I like to do. It's very simple, but it's so beneficial and very powerful, which is just really breathing in through the nose
Hmm.
and a powerful exhale specifically through the teeth. So somatic breath, it's a powerful breathing technique. Somatic breathing really helps you to move everything outside out, and it helps you find your center. It makes you present. And that's how we use somatic breath to do a lot of like healing traumas, for
Okay.
example.
Hmm.
Um, and like I said, it's a very simple, it can be a very simple technique, but it's very, very powerful. So I usually go for the simplest, which is breathing in through the nose
Hmm.
and then a powerful breath through the mouth
Okay.
and using the belly because we want to activate the diaphragm while we are breathing. So I'll do a count of 10 breaths and I have them lying down. And so they'll take a deep breath in through the nose. And I ask them to make sure they expand the belly. And then when it's a powerful exhale through the mouth, the belly goes in, the belly dips. And that makes the body to get super tense, especially the first five. And then after that, the body is super relaxed. And that relaxation makes it easier for me to be able to see their codes and what they're ready to to heal and to let go.
Excellent.
So from there, that's it. I start activating all the points in the grid. The grid is what I work with the most when I do energy work. So, you know how the planet Earth, right? We all know how the planet Earth has this beautiful grid, this math of meridians.
Mm-hmm.
So the body has the same. And those grid lines are like avenues that carry information.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the information the soul transports.
Sure.
So that's what
Yoga,
I
we call
work.
those nadis, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what I work with, that information. Sometimes like if we have trauma, it means there's a piece of code in the DNA of the person that has not found resolution.
Okay.
So with the energy work, the combination of work that I do, I help them release that trauma and find resolution. And sometimes it's the simplest thing, because we never really take time to kind of go back to revisit a situation. We just kind of bury it and keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't realize, like, if you're 3 years old and, you were about to put your finger in the flame and your mom and dad yelled at you, no, don't do that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then the 3-year-old you is going to stay with that shock of my parents yelled at me and, fire. And that was a very traumatic event for the 3-year-old you.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, if you never take time to revisit that moment and understand that, oh, my parents were protecting me from the flame, you will never heal that trauma. And it will become a thing in your later years. Something so simple.
Yeah, great simple example. I love that.
Yeah. And so that's the work I do when I have them, and I go through all those nadis, all
Mm-hmm.
those grid lines, and
Nice.
start to help release. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
then of course we have deeper ones.
yeah, yeah, of course. And then also I podcasted with somebody not too long ago, Dory, who does breathwork therapy, and she was saying that we bring like trauma with us from 12 generations of our ancestors. So
That's right.
ancestral trauma, I mean that 12 generations, that goes way back.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Now, the wonderful thing is that and this year, 2025, has been one of the most pivotal years in generational healing
Okay.
because of the level of awareness in the planet right now. The collective is growing strong. So, generational healing, it's become, important.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, the beauty of all of this is that when you start to heal generations back, you strengthen generations forward.
I
So it
love that.
works. Yeah, it works great for
Helping our
everyone.
children and grandchildren and
That's
great
right.
grandchildren down the line.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Very
It's
cool.
great the way that works, right?
Yeah.
It's a divine plan.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the patient. You've done this energy work now, and then what's happening next?
Mhm. So, well, once I get through the chakras, I mean, the chakras provide a lot of information because we store everything in the chakras. Because the chakras sustain all of the info of that person, that's how the aura happens. The
Okay.
aura is an expression of the chakra system. So once I work through that layer of the chakras and I work through their grid system, I usually work from the top of the head and I move all the way down. So I work with the shoulders, which is structure, release whatever from the shoulders with the arms. And sometimes it's a lot more detailed. It depends on the person. Sometimes I only focus on the center line, and it'll
Mhm.
take me, usually a session will take me about 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Wow, that's a long session.
Yeah, Yeah, it's a very detailed work. There's a lot, there's a
Yeah,
lot that comes up.
that's great.
And
I don't know.
yeah,
Most Reiki sessions that I've experienced are more like a half hour to an hour. So you're really getting
oh,
some deep,
yeah.
long work there. I like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I want to make sure that when they leave that they're good
Yeah,
and
yeah, that makes
ready.
sense.
Yeah. And you have like there's all these areas in the body like shoulders and hips. It's structure,
Hmm.
not just body structure, but life structure and family. So anything that I find energetically along the shoulders, in the chest, the collarbone, or the low back, the hips, that tells me a lot about their personal life with their family. Like how like their traumas or their, where they're happy, where they need help, where they need support, where they didn't have support. So I work on healing and clearing, and every now and then, if it's needed during the session, I do very little talking.
Hmm.
But sometimes if there's something I need them to be aware of to reinforce a code in a specific area, I'll say something to them for them to focus on that and work on bringing in more prana to that area to reinforce.
Life force energy.
Sometimes I use light language, yes. Light language also. And that sometimes they don't hear me. And I always explain to them, if I'm going to say something to you that I need you to listen, that I need you to hear me, I'll say it loud enough.
Hmm.
If you hear me whispering, don't worry. It's your soul hears me. We're working through some deeper codes.
Yeah.
So,
So,
the knees also are a really important part, the ankles, you know,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, to articulate the energy. So I work from the top of the head all the way down to the bottom of
Okay.
the feet.
You just keep generating more and more questions for me here. I love it. So you're
Right?
saying that you see the code.
Yes.
So what does that look like?
Yes.
What do you describe what that means when you say you see the code?
Um, so the reason I take as long as I do during sessions is
Hmm.
because my eyes are focused, super focused. I notice everything. That's why my hearing also, I tune into the space and the moment in such a way that if I see that there's, either a twitch in a finger or the knee or a shoulder, that tells me something.
Yeah.
So I'll ask the energy, what do I need to see? What happened there? And I'll tune in my hearing to see if there's something coming up, or I'll tune in my eyes to see if there's anything else. And sometimes there's a little mist of an energy that needs to be released. And so I'll focus some attention on that area. So
Okay.
those are the codes. And I ask, that's why I always tell people I talk to the energy.
Hmm.
Because if I see something, for example, around the shoulders to me, when when that area speaks to me, it's telling me about family structure, family foundation, but family as in my clients' parents, maybe their siblings, maybe their grandparents. If I'm working on their hips and something comes up in the hips, it's also family structure and family foundation, but it's more related to their family that they're creating. So their husband, their children,
Okay.
that way. So it starts to separate the type of family foundation. It could be the family you were born into, or it could be the family that you're creating.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So those are the codes to
Gotcha.
me. Yeah.
Okay. The other question is, I'm familiar with light language, but I'm wondering, is that something that came spontaneous to you, or is that something that you had training to develop light language? And
um,
also share what light language is, because some people are like, light language, what's that?
right. Light language is such a beautiful gift that we have received. It's something that comes more when you're a star seed. So it's a way to communicate with your star ancestors. We all come from the stars. we've all been seeded in the planet millions of years ago. And so some of us have, for some reason, this gift has been awakened now. We all have the same path. We're all going to be in this moment at some point in our own existence. Um, but it's a connection to our star family. And so light language is a way to communicate. It's basically a language from the stars. And it sounds very different, and it depends on what constellation you're connected to. The language sounds a little different.
Interesting. Which one are you connected to?
For me, what comes up the most is Pleiadian or Arcturian.
Okay.
Those are the two that I use the most for my healing. And it's a very soft language. I almost whisper it when I'm doing my healing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you said it. Is that something you trained in? Maybe you said it and I was thinking about something else, or is that something that just came spontaneously to you?
Um, yes, it just for me it just came up. I've never trained in light language. I actually
Okay.
didn't know. I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know it had a name
Mm-hmm.
until I met this wonderful woman some years ago, and I was actually teaching a like a super basic oracle reading class.
Okay.
This was like 20 years ago, and she came to my class, and she had the gift of sight. And so one of the things I said about one of the angel cards, and she said, "Oh my God, I see the light when you speak of this angel." And I was like, "Oh, that's so wonderful." I got really excited. And she said, "What is that angel's name?" And I said, "I don't know." And she said, "Because I think it's telling you." And she said, "What do you hear?" And that was the first time that somebody had ever said something like that to me, where I felt like, oh my God, she knows. And so it wasn't something that I openly spoke about, that there was this language. So to me, it was more like sounds. And you know how sometimes if you're focused on something, some people hum, some
Sure.
people sing. To me, it was that. I thought it was that. It turns
Okay.
out it was light language. Yeah.
Hmm. Can you give us an example?
Um, well, when I start my sessions,
Mm-hmm.
um, usually when I call my star ancestors, my phrase is, so for example, I'll say, "Yes, thus," and that's my welcome.
Okay. Beautiful.
That's when it's like, okay, I am ready.
Yeah. In the zone.
Yes, yeah. And that opens up. I feel it already. It
Yeah.
opens all the doorways.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
Um,
really wonderful.
okay, so we've progressed through this session and we're towards the end now. How does it wrap up?
Well, so the end it's really important. It's the grounding part of the session,
Okay.
where I always like to help them work on what I call the grounding cord, so
Mm-hmm.
that everything that they've worked on, everything they've released, everything they're bringing in can be connected to Mother Earth, for purpose of gravity. So they say, um, and working on, sealing the aura so that all of the healing kind of stays in place. And that's just a lot of like fluffing of the field.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of look. I usually like to step back. I look at the person just kind of from different angles to make sure that nothing is out, like the final stitching and surgery, make sure everything's sealed, everything's put
Mhm.
together. And that's it. I work my way back up to the top of the head, and I give my thank yous, and I seal the aura. And then through a gentle meditation, I guide them back to wake up. And most of the time they sleep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sounds like a wonderful session.
Yeah,
So,
you should try it sometime
yeah. Where are you located?
in Hollywood.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Just podcasted yesterday with a band from West Palm Beach area, West Palm Beach,
Nice.
Fort Lauderdale area. Yeah.
Nice.
I know where Hollywood's at. I've been there. So
Yeah.
it's on the East Coast there of Florida.
Yes.
So do you do this remotely or only in person?
No, I can do remote. I have clients in many places around the world. I have
Yeah.
people in Australia, in
Wow.
Israel, in the US, people in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do
Excellent.
remote. In person is always, it's different. It's warm. But remote is just as good.
Yeah,
Yes.
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing all that about your Reiki sessions. It sounds, like I
Of
said, sounds
course.
sounds wonderful. If
Yeah.
somebody's interested in getting in touch with you for one of those sessions, how do they get a hold of you?
If they look me up on social media, it's Love Driven. That's my
Okay.
name across the board.
Okay.
And my contact info is on there. My website also is lovedriven.com.
Okay.
And all of my information is on there as well. My number is, I openly place my phone number everywhere on
Hmm.
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, tell us about your yoga classes. What style of yoga do you teach, and what's
Ooh.
yeah.
Yoga. Yeah. So I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher.
Okay.
I've been teaching Kundalini since 2010.
Wow.
And yes, and it's Kundalini yoga is absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
I absolutely love it. It's fun and it's empowering and it's work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, I teach vinyasa. I like
Okay.
to teach restorative yoga. So I do restorative yoga twice a week.
Hmm.
And Kundalini yoga I teach 3 times a week in
Okay.
different places in South Florida.
Have you had a Kundalini awakening?
Yes. Whew.
Oh.
A few, but
Okay.
yes, the first one was the
Wow.
most intense. It
Yeah.
was amazing. Yes. I
Are
thought I was
you?
dying.
Yeah. Are you open to sharing it?
Yes, of course. I remember, let me see. It must have been, it was probably like 2007.
Hmm.
I started practicing Kundalini, I think it was like end of 2005.
Okay.
And I was invited to this group. They were doing what's called sadhana
Hmm.
at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And I was like, it was just amazing. So it was every Saturday, 4:30 to 7:30 in the morning. These Kundalini yogis were gathering in this wonderful room, and there was a lot of movement and breath work. And so I did that steady for a few years.
Hmm.
From there, on Saturdays, I used to drive up to this place called the Goddess Door, and I was doing guided meditations. I was leading a guided meditation group there, Saturday mornings at 9. And so from the yoga in the morning, I used to go straight there, do my meditations, and then take a dance class. This is a belly dance studio. I would take a dance class, and that was like my Saturday routine.
That's an active day.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And so one afternoon, after all of that fun stuff, I go back home, and it
Hmm.
was probably around like 5 or something. I was a little tired, so I was like, I'm gonna take a 30-minute nap. So I laid down, and
Hmm.
I don't know how much time it passed, but I was woken up by this feeling, and I felt like I couldn't tell if my eyes were open. I thought my eyes were open, but there was this incredible bright white light that I couldn't see anything. And my eyes felt very warm. And I couldn't hear anything and I couldn't speak. I wasn't sure, I wasn't even sure if I was awake or asleep. And so I started moving my hands like this, trying to see like where am I? What am I, what's going on? and I could feel my body. It was like an incredible chemistry, the weird reaction that was happening. And my dog was laying down next to me and she started licking my hand and I could feel him. So I knew, okay, I'm alive, I'm home, and I'm with my dog.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to breathe and just really trying to understand. Everything was just happening so fast. And at that moment, I thought, like, this is it. I'm dying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I did. And I was just kind of working that through in my mind. I'm like, God, I don't know what I did. I don't know if I did something wrong. I want to stay. um, and and then this immense calm I felt.
Hmm.
And I was just, I just have to breathe. And so I relaxed my hands and I I couldn't feel the bed. Like I felt like I was floating.
Yeah.
And and then next thing you know, my heartbeat started to get really present. It was very intense. And that's because I was coming back to my body, I was coming back to me.
Hmm.
And then the white started to clear, and I got that feeling of like incredible warmth in my ear, and then my hearing started to regulate. And so now I can hear and I'm looking around, and it was very strong, very intense. And I stayed, and I was just in bed and I'm looking up and I'm looking at my dog and my dog's looking at me like, you know,
You
and I
okay?
was
What
like,
happened, Mom?
yeah, yeah. And I'm like, what happened? I don't know. But he was super calm. And so I sat up and I felt fine. Like there was
Hmm.
nothing left in my body, nothing, I had no harsh feelings or nothing. Everything was
Yeah.
like back to normal.
Hmm.
And and so that stayed with me. And I at that moment I hadn't understood what had happened to me. And so then the following Saturday, when I went back to morning yoga, and we were just hanging out after the class, um, I brought it up and I asked some of the teachers, like, I had this thing happen to me last week. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if it's some healing and they started laughing at me. And they said, it was like, that sounds like your Kundalini rose.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's what we're always looking for. We're always
Yeah.
chasing that feeling. And so they explained to me what that does and what it means and the amount of healing that my body is going through
Hmm.
and that's what that was. It was that energetic regulation of the
And how
body.
did you feel afterwards? I mean, going
Amazing.
forward,
Amazing.
like,
Amazing. I mean, um, healing when, we talk about healing and awakening and enlightenment and we think it's this like magical experience, right? But
yeah.
when we're going through that healing and that process,
Hmm.
it's work. It's a lot of work, and we have to be patient and we have to be aware that it's not always going to feel good and magical. Sometimes it's going to feel heavy and we're going to the purge of letting go. We feel that and it's just having the patience and holding space for yourself,
Yeah.
knowing it's going to be okay because it is. It's okay.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. Yeah. But healing, it's been a really wonderful journey for me.
Hmm.
Um, when I started all of this, one of the things I was diagnosed with was fibromyalgia,
Okay.
and I was in a lot of pain.
Hmm.
And this was like 30 years ago. And
Yeah.
I couldn't stand up straight. I couldn't walk straight. My back was in so much pain. I was like a walking seven.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and you know, this changed my life.
Yeah. And living with that kind of pain is horrible. Any type of pain.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And life is always throwing things at you. It's
Hmm.
not like you heal and then that's it. Everything's great.
I'm done.
Right? But
Complete.
but I
All
think
done.
that's just part of the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, what's next? What else am I going to work on today?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
um, so someone's interested in checking out your yoga classes. Is that information also on your website, lovedriven.com?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
On my website and on my Instagram, I post. I'm very active on my social media, always inviting my people to join. Yeah, the yoga classes are amazing. Restorative yoga is absolutely blissful. We
Hmm.
work through like always breathing deeply and deep stretches and just being present. It's like really discovering the body, how we're feeling, where we're tight, where we're loose. And yeah, and then the Kundalini yoga classes are always an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kundalini's fun because it's so active and so powerful. You're using breath work. There's lots of movement. And
Yeah.
sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this any longer. But then you're pushing through and then you have a release and then it feels like you could do it all day.
That's
I
right.
just
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
Kundalini yoga.
Me too. Me too. And then you feel it afterwards. It's like
Hmm.
you're like super pumped and it's a workout.
Yeah. Yeah. A workout that doesn't zap your energy though, like it
Yes.
booms your energy. I love that.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
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 Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we're getting close to the end of the hour, but I'd like you to
Okay.
talk a little bit about your life coaching as well.
Yes, life coaching, that was a surprise to me. Is that something I was like, oh, I want to be a life coach.
Hmm.
It just sort of happened. I've always had this thing that I people talk to me. And it just happens naturally. Like
Happens a lot.
I'll be, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be like at the supermarket in line and I say hi to everyone. And then next thing you know, people are just telling me
Mm.
about their life. And I always let them know, well, there's this trick, or it's like, oh, migraines, you suffer from migraines. If you put a little pressure in this area, or if you block the right nose and you breathe in through the left, it'll help release migraines. And then it's like, oh my God, that's so great. Thank you. And so I was in a session
Mhm.
with an old client of mine, and we were just kind of catching up and and so she said, it's always so nice to talk with you. She's like, you bring so much to the healing that it's not just about the Reiki that you give me, but, you know, that you allow me to just kind of catch up. And it really helps me define what I want to work on when I get on your table. And I thought, that was very nice. And so I was sharing that with a friend of mine, and she said, well, that's the work of a life coach. And I said, huh, okay. But it's not something that I was like, well, I'm going to find out where I can do. It just sort of came to me a few years ago before my birthday. I was like, well, I want to see what I want to do something meaningful for myself for my birthday. And it was probably around like October. And so all of a sudden I got this notice on in one of my emails about this place, this school, and it was like a special offer on life coaching and very much along the lines of energy work that I do and it just sounded like that's it. That's what I'm going to do. So I signed up and I took the course and it was great. It helped me a lot, but it was things that
Hmm.
I was already doing. So it
Yeah.
was just kind of, locking it in and
Yeah.
yeah.
Give a little legitimacy to what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because back then I never really said, oh, I'm a life coach. I'm a minister.
Okay.
I'm an ordained minister. I was ordained in 2006 and I learned life coaching techniques
Hmm.
when I studied at the ministry.
Okay.
But I never really considered myself a life coach,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, tell us about your what you're ordained in, the type of ministry you have.
So I was ordained by the Alliance of Divine Love Ministries, which is located in Deerfield, Florida.
Okay.
And they're an international ministry now, but back then it was just domestic. And it's grown a lot. And it's primarily a healing and divination ministry. So we focus on healing
Okay. Very good.
primarily. So I'm not a preacher. I don't stand and I give a sermon. I'm a I'm a
You could
healing
though.
minister.
I think you really could and do a great job of it.
Oh, I could. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have. I mean, I do. I give talks and I'm always invited to do like women's talks and stuff like that. I love
Mhm.
it. You know, I really love sharing what I do with the community because for me the real message in everything that I do
Mhm.
is about self-healing. And that's how I started.
Yeah.
We have the power to heal ourselves. All we have to do is find the right tools. We have infinite tools, and they're all available to us. And the tools that work for me may not work for you, but you have your own tools that will work perfectly. And so my job is to help people find the tools that will give them the proper healing that they need. And that's my mission.
So
Yeah.
spiritual mechanic.
Yes. Yeah, in the philosophy of Kundalini Yoga and Sikh Dharma, we believe that the body is technology.
Hmm.
And the tools that we use when we practice Kundalini Yoga and all of the techniques that we use are to fine tune that leading edge technology that the body is. So, yeah,
Yeah, I love
it
that.
fits. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this podcast is all about promoting people that are helping others, and I love how you are helping others.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, so great. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Well, I want to say thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, my
Um,
pleasure.
I think it's been great and for what you do also to help people like myself to be out there and to help connect us to people that need.
Hmm.
So, I appreciate this. Yeah.
This is my little way of helping to alleviate suffering in the world. So
Yes. Thank
creating
you.
those connections for people
That's
to
right.
find what they
That's,
need.
thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you. And many blessings to you. Thanks.
Thank you, sweetheart,
So
and to you
blessed.
as well.